Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to This Day. It is a Friday, October 11th, and still warm and dry out there. Well, not that warm, but certainly dry and a little bit breezy. I'll tell you about that in just a moment. On our show today from United, we have Sue Margolis and Andre Torn, and they're going to kind of tell us, well, what they're coming up in the future for United. Also, Daniel Barrett from Kids Give to Kids is here. He's going to be talking about a fundraiser that they're going to be having right nearby here at Ruby's Restaurant. We're going to bring you a segment from Sterling Financial and also with our friend Dr. Tren of Irvine Clinical Research. Now, there are no meetings to tell you about today, so I'll give you right into the weather. And as we know, there is obviously the winds that are out there. Although in South Orange County, they've, if you're watching us in the morning, they have subsided a little bit. Hasn't been too bad down here, but we all know the problems they're having up in the Porter Ranch area right now with the huge fire up there. And most of the stronger winds have stayed up in those areas. We certainly got them overnight, but they pretty much at this point have subsided. However, the red flag warning is all the way through about this evening, anywhere from 6 to 8 o'clock, just depending what part of Southern California. So do expect those winds, and they will probably pick up as we get to the afternoon. But then, as of right now, that red flag warning will probably go away, as I said, in the evening tonight. We could still get some breezes overnight Friday into Saturday. So really, I would say not until about Saturday midday that all of this will probably stop, more than likely. Now, we get cooler weather then coming up. And by the way, this is, what's interesting about the Santa Ana wind event is there were certain areas in the high deserts that had freeze warnings last night. And that's because these aren't super hot winds, certainly dry and strong in certain areas, but this is a relatively cool Santa Ana wind event. So if there's anything good about it, that would be it. Then we go forward Sunday and then beyond. You can just see just some beautiful, nice weather. A little bit warmer as we get into Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. But overall, once we really get into, I would say, Saturday evening, things are going to start to cool down and be really nice. Let's look around the state this weekend. Relatively mild everywhere you go. Certainly in Northern California, even warm areas, the Bay Area 75, Central Coast 80, and then even when you look at Lake Tahoe and Yosemite, those are really mild temperatures right now. Nice fall weather up there. Arrowhead 68 and Palm Springs 91. So again, red flag warnings more than likely are going to be in effect anywhere from 6, 7, 8 o'clock tonight. That could change, but that's how it is as of this morning. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
October is Audiology Awareness Month. Studies show that 70% of the people over the age of 65 have some form of hearing loss which affects their lives. Hearing loss is common, yet not healthy. Your brain needs to hear a complete spectrum of sound to process it quickly and accurately. Audiologists are the experts in treating hearing issues. Come to Amazing Hearing and let our audiologists change the way you hear.
My name's Erica, and I believe each mind matters.
A movement is growing.
A movement for mental health.
It includes millions of people like me.
Like me.
Like me.
Who are ready to create change.
Because half of us will experience a mental health challenge.
But no one is alone.
We all have mental health.
Sometimes we're okay. Sometimes we need support.
And when support is needed, it's okay to reach out.
Because people can and do get better.
And we make it possible by speaking up.
Being open and honest. Living stigma-free.
Hope starts with me.
This is the mental health movement.
Join us.
Join us.
Join us.
Most real estate agents stick to the 3 Ps of marketing. They place it on the MLS, they put up a sign, and pray that it sells. Laguna Premier Realty takes a different approach to marketing your home. From professional and high-quality photos to high-definition video, single property websites, and 3D virtual tours. We will make your property stand out and, most importantly, sell. So whether you are looking to list your current home or find your dream home in the Village, Laguna Premier Realty is here to help.
Hey Laguna Woods, it's Ken.
And Lisa.
Did you miss an episode of This Day? Not to worry. Head over to youtube.com and search Village Television.
Here you can find each episode of This Day and other community programs such as Good Day OC, Discovering Laguna Woods, and much more.
Just click the red subscribe button, then click the bell to be emailed every time we upload a video.
Don't miss out.
And subscribe today. And with me right now from the United Board is Sue Margolis, who is now the board president, and also Andre Torin, who is the second vice president. So I'd like to welcome them here, and good to see you both.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Glad to be here.
Our pleasure. And today you're just kind of giving a little bit of an overview of things that you're going to be looking in the future.
Make everybody understand where we're going.
Okay, very good.
I want to thank the members of the board who have honored me with this position as president. And any of those members or residents who feel a bit hesitant, I hope they'll discover happily that I can lead the board in a fair and respectful way. I certainly will try, and I hope we can listen to one another and search for common ground. I will be seen as a fitting representation of our community. After all, we are a co-op, and we want to be seen as cooperating. We have many problems to solve, and all these board members have signed on to donate their time to work on them, especially where it comes to our relationships with external groups, including VMS staff, the City of Laguna Woods, and other boards. It's important we approach these problems with a unified, cooperative way. The board will be setting priorities for United in the next few weeks, and we'll be sharing these with you. We're looking for ways to control costs in a world where everything costs more and save money by improving efficiency. My hope is that the residents will also be willing to donate some of their time. I know you're retired, but so are all these board members, and they're willing to give 10 to 20 hours a week. Perhaps you could be willing to give an hour or so to help make this a better place. Everyone can contribute to making this a shared community instead of just a residential area. We know every resident here has a great deal of experience, and we need to tap into that and use it to the betterment of the community. Most of all, I hope you'll reach out to your neighbors and support them. We receive many complaints, but few solutions. Everyone needs to think of them as shared home and your neighbors as family. A few years ago, I visited the Kingdom of Bhutan, where spirituality and compassion have been integrated into their governance. The government does not just measure the gross national product, but it also measures the gross GNH, their gross national happiness. I would want to measure the happiness level of our village. They use safety, education, health, food security, good governance, psychological well-being, community vitality, and relationships. The question we may want to begin to ask ourselves is, how do we stack up? We have a terrific group of board members and officers. The first vice president is Carol Randazzo. The second vice president is Andre. The secretary is Juanita Skillman. The treasurer is Elsie Addington. I look forward to a great year. And Andre will give you a peek at what we hope to do.
All right, very good. Andre?
Yes, during my election campaign, I made a promise that I want to cut waste and improve services. So here are two things I would like to see change and achieve those two goals. First one is quality check. I've heard numerous complaints from residents like these, and the board members also reflect the same thing, that the back of the cul-de-sac is not mowed and not trimmed. The There are piles of debris are left uncollected. Services to residents are partially done and left unfinished for several weeks and months. I had to, residents said they have to call 3 or more times to get the jobs done correctly. United Board will be looking for ways to solve the problems and make sure wasted time is reduced and service is improved. United will be asking VMS staff to put in place checklists for every job and quality assessment procedures. We hope the standard procedure will be for any work at the end of an assignment. It will be supervisor's responsibility to check off a list and make sure all assigned tasks are done properly according to procedure, and then sign off. United will be proposing that there will be checklists and quality checks for all work done. Some of these tasks are done by outside contractors, and these especially need quality checks before payment. There have been some cases where work is left unfinished for months by contractor, and then the contract completed promptly when notified. Right now, VMS is completing most work within 30 days. We are hope that to move that to 15 days and not have any works open more than 30 days. Next, we would like to verify all the work requests. United has heard numerous complaints that residents made a request, but no action was taken and no response. One reason we were told was some work requests were received in the field and logged in the supervisor notes, not as work requests. Some were forgotten and lost as a result. VMS since corrected the procedure, but the problem persists. It seems like some problems just vanish in the thin air, and VMS cannot find problems just, that they don't exist in their system. One thing we are sure is we want to make sure is that when you make a work request through email, you will get an automatic response. So recently, it even has an SA work number included in the email. We would like to ask our residents' help to submit work requests using email to residentservices@vmsinc.com, which is included in my business card. If you can, that way you will have the evidence they have made the request, they have received the request. If you make a work request at the counter of the admin building or with a VMS staff in the field, please make sure you have a brief description of the request, the name of the staff who received it, the date of the request, and the staff's signature. When you make a request with a VMS staff, make sure you talk to the supervisor or lead who speak English. So in conclusion, the new United Board does not want to oversee each work order. We want to look at VMS performance improvements. I hope these two simple changes, quality check, work request verification, will improve the service and reduce the waste time of back and forth communication between residents and the staff. If no action and no response continue in 3 days, please follow up your work request with either an email or for the automatic response or an VMS staff speak English and request signature date again. If no action and no response in 7 days, please forward your request to me or to any board members. We will follow up. Thank you for your support, and it is always our honor and pleasure to serve you.
All right.
This may seem like a small task, but it's a complete mindset change for VMS and will not be implemented overnight. VMS staff is working very hard in a reactive mode and does not lack work to do. Added, the burden of checks and lists will be a hard sell, but United Board knows it'll pay off in the long run. And for people that are talking to the landscape people, the people in blue or white shirts speak English. It's very definite that they are the lead people.
Okay.
You got questions for us?
Yeah. So basically, what you're saying, if I'm understanding right, especially when it comes to landscape requests, you should do it the proper procedure in email or something. Because if you talk to somebody in the field,
Right.
But chances are, you know, they're busy, they're doing things, they might write down a little note, but to get back to the right people, like anything, you know, it may or may not, but
they've got a job to do, and that isn't part of their job to do.
Right. One question I have for you, Andre, you're still going to be involved. I know disaster preparedness is a very big issue with you.
Yes, I'd be more than happy to get involved, and my head is still available there.
All right.
I think it's a very important task that everybody needs to get involved, and if I can motivate people, it will be my pleasure to get involved.
All right, because I know that was a big passion of yours, so I'm sure you'll get back here and talk about that.
Yes.
Anything else you'd like to add, Sue?
No, I think we'll be coming on more every week. Somebody will be coming from United to bring an update from the committee meetings and the other events that we have.
All right, very good. Good to see you again. Congratulations, Andre.
You.
Good to see you.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to share our thoughts with the audience,
certainly,
residents here.
All right, we'll see you again, and we'll be right back.
We love to show people that our sight loss won't hold us back. Thanks to free classes at Braille Institute, we're returning to the things we love. We're connecting with the world using today's technology. And we're learning to get back in the game. Thanks to Braille Institute, it's about what we can do, not what we can't.
Get information about free programs available from Braille Institute Anaheim, or learn about our new center in South Orange County by calling 1-800-BRAILLE or visit brailleinstitute.org.
Did you know there are over 400,000 seniors in Orange County today? So where does a senior or family caregiver go for information and resources? You can turn to the Answers Guide, published by the Council on Aging Southern California. Answers is full of articles and resources to help you navigate the aging experience. You can pick up your free copy today at the clubhouse nearest you or at the Social Services Office. The Council on Aging, helping seniors remain healthy, connected, and protected.
Did you know that we are living longer, healthier lives than ever before? And did you know that social interaction, brain stimulation, and exercise improve your quality of life? Did you know the Saddleback College Emeritus Institute offers 200 tuition-free classes to older adults in South Orange County? With over 30-plus locations between Lake Forest and San Clemente, it has never been easier to take advantage of your third active life. Sign up today.
When I was first diagnosed, they gave me about 2 years to live.
After they took it out, they did some additional tests and it found out that yes, it was a cancerous tumor.
I had an aorta dissection and that triggered a stroke on top of it.
I've been in treatment a little over 2 years. They saved my life.
If I hadn't been pregnant, they would not have found that mass. If it hadn't been for Ben, I might not be here.
It was amazing that he has knowledge to do what he has to do to save me.
Well, I'd like to welcome back Daniel Barrett, who was with us about a year ago. He is with Kids Give to Kids, and we've got a couple different things we want to talk about today. Welcome back.
Thank you very much for having us.
Yes, and the first thing you said you wanted to talk about is a special thing you're doing here just for the village as a way to gather toys for kids, and this is going to be happening right over here at Ruby's Restaurant.
Yeah, so just like last year, we had 300 boxes all over Orange County collecting toys. We actually raised over $40,000 worth of toys last year. And this year I wanted to be, because of what you guys do for me and for us, that I wanted to do a little bit of an exclusive with the village. So Ruby's offered to give 15% off their bill when they bring in a toy and mention that they're from the village.
Very good. And so when will this promotion start?
So it starts November 1st,
Okay.
all the way through December 24th.
Very good.
So they can go in multiple times and bring in a toy and get 15% off of
All
their,
right. And we want to make sure it's the Ruby's located here.
So one located at the mall right across
Okay.
the street from the village, so it's easy access. And they don't have to use it at that moment. They could just bring in a toy and get a voucher to use in another
All
time or
right.
day.
Very good. So let's talk about Kids Give to Kids in general. And, you know, there's a lot of different organizations that collect toys for kids, of course, especially as we get into the holiday season. So tell us how you're different.
So how I feel that we're different is we actually created an app. So the app is powering Kids Give to Kids in a way that it's never been powered before. So every organization out there primarily gives toys to kids, and the toys that are given aren't chosen. They're just accepted because the kids are less fortunate, so they say, oh, well, it's better to get something than nothing. With our app, we actually created the app to where kids actually for the first time in their lives get to choose their own toys.
Okay.
But it's also all year round. So kids can actually take their used toys that they don't play with, put onto the app where other kids can go ahead and choose those toys.
Okay.
So instead of putting toys in a bag and taking them to Goodwill and dropping them off, this experience gives the kids at a younger age a real experience of giving.
So how does the app work? And we should say that the app is called K-Spire?
So the app is called K-Spire. So we took the word Inspire and took the IN off and replaced it with K for kids. So if you look at our website, you can see the logo. It kind of looks like a shield, like a superhero shield. So primarily how it works is, I like to say we're the we app. That means everybody that's involved with our app, it helps everybody. So we have local restaurants and businesses that are on board with us, and they become the distribution power of the toy. So when a kid brings in a toy, then the restaurant gives that kid a free kids meal. And when the kid comes to pick up their toy, the restaurant gives that kid a free kids meal, which makes every kid equal based on sharing, no longer based on less fortunate versus fortunate.
So are you saying that someone goes on the app and there's a list of wanted items from certain kids, and maybe you pick out one and then it says, okay, please bring this toy to this location?
So actually how it works is every child with their parents fill out their profile. They already get to pre-choose 5 restaurants that they would like to go to in their geo area. Or 5 businesses. So they basically have 10 locations within their geo area that is within minutes of where they live to make it convenient. So when a child picks a brand new toy that was put up by another family, then a push notification goes to that family that put up the toy and says, hey, congratulations, the toy's been chosen. Here's the list of restaurants that you can choose from based on the chosen restaurants that that child picked. They pick one of those restaurants. The restaurants have bags already at the restaurant, so the parent goes, puts the toy in the bag, and explains to the person in charge at the front desk and says, you know, I'm dropping off this toy. There's tablets at the restaurant, kind of like a reverse to-go order, like a DoorDash or a Grubhub. They click the tablet, push notification goes to the family to be able to come and pick up the toy, and they come and pick up the toy. And then when they pick up the toy, digitally, automatically, that free kids meal is on the parent's cell phone.
Okay, so I guess the part that I'm questioning is the person that is giving the toy, the family, the kid, do they just go out and buy any toy and then put it online saying, you know, this box of Lego is now available? Is that how that works?
There's actually 2 ways.
Because I guess I'm wondering if a bunch of kids who want that toy are all kind of vying for it. How does that work?
So there's two ways. One, primarily the goal is, because it's all year round, is that kids are taking their used toys that they don't play with anymore. So the kids that are putting the toys up are the kids that are taking their actual toys that are no longer playing with to put up as a used toy for these kids to choose. Now, during the holiday season or whatever the case may be, there's going to be gracious givers, which are people that are 18 and over, which could be a parent or whatever, or they may not have kids, and they can go buy new toys and put them up for kids to choose. Now, as a gracious giver, the gracious giver drops off the toy, but they don't earn a free kids meal. I know sometimes people are like, oh, but I wanted the free kids meal.
Yeah.
But it's not the case. It's all about the kids.
Okay.
And at that time, you know, they also earn points for doing these things. And that's what's really awesome about this, because there's an entrepreneurship to it. So 70% of the points earned is based on task-driven scenarios. So putting up a toy, taking a toy to a restaurant in a fast capacity, you know, sharing the app with someone else. They earn points by doing this, and then those points turn into free haircuts, movie passes, things like that.
Okay.
So imagine a 7-year-old, you know, daughter or son coming up to their parents and going, Mom, Dad, I think I have enough points for my haircut. Can I pay for my own haircut?
Yeah.
Is that happening in our society at this time?
Probably not.
No. So this is something that we're
Yeah.
trying to change. So there's a lot of things that we're doing that actually is going to change a lot. The two primary things we're changing is, one is every kid gets to choose.
Yeah.
The second thing that we're changing is every kid can now become a giver.
Okay.
And that is astronomical.
Now, as far as the people, the families that are choosing this, how do you get the word out to them?
So ultimately, you know, what's the best advertising in the world? Word of mouth. So ultimately, we set it up to where we're dealing with schools and churches and organizations, and we have a lot of people, you know, mom blogs, you know, TV shows like this, you know, dealing with a lot of grandparents. This is a great way for everybody to share this, you know, new app that will hopefully inspire kids to change the world.
Okay, and to get the app both for Apple and Android products?
Yes, it will be, and we're launching it in January. So the actual app launches in January.
Okay, so it's not available now.
It's not available at this very
all right.
minute. Well, that's why we're doing our second toy drive, because we want to raise another $50,000 worth of toys.
Okay, so at this point, it's toy drives you're doing.
Exactly.
All right, that's
so
good to know.
we're it's like our inventory. So hopefully when we launch the app in January, we'll have over $100,000 worth of toys to give away.
Got it. All right, very good. And you know, when the app comes out, let us know.
Absolutely, I would love to come a follow up, actually maybe during the summer or something, and really kind of
Sounds good.
say, hey, we're live, we're ready to go.
All right, very good. Daniel,
All right,
thank you very
I appreciate
much.
your time, and thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah, I like to have people like you on and doing good things.
All right, and one last thing real quick is, you know, we are, you know, asking for volunteers, and we also, so a lot of the village people can work from home and make phone calls for us and stuff, and actually we might be able to compensate them for that too.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Daniel,
thank
very
you.
much.
Have a blessed day.
We'll be right back.
At the Memorial Care Breast Center, Saddleback, you will always find a friendly face to guide you through your annual mammogram visit. Our staff, dedicated subspecialist breast radiologists, knowledge, and innovative technology await your visit to our center. With the Laguna Woods shuttle service right at our sidewalk, this convenient location offers you quick access for your appointment. You can expect nothing but the best for all your breast health needs at Memorial Care Breast Center, Saddleback.
Well, I'd like to welcome back with us. We haven't seen Dan for a while. Dan Elweiler from Sterling Financial Advisors.
Hi, Ken.
Welcome
How
back,
are you?
sir.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
Colorful tie.
Yes, thank you very much. Kind of the fall look. We are.
Yeah.
Man, hard to believe, right? We're almost to the holidays here.
Yeah, I've got a daughter-in-law that's crazy about Halloween, and so.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
So she decorates her apartment. My son is not used to this.
Yeah, my house, I've got lights up.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, I've been doing that for years.
Oh my gosh.
I got pumpkins hanging from the garage
really?
and all.
Oh,
yeah.
you are intense.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, it looks, then it transitions to Christmas.
Oh, my wife does the Christmas thing. We don't do so much Halloween, but,
yeah.
you know, a pumpkin here or there.
Yes. All right, so we are talking about something that, in a way, kind of affects me. Here's why the last 5 years before retirement are so critical.
Right.
And we have this slide up, but there's something that you and I have both talked about many times. As generations get to be, 60 years old and all, there's going to be less and less pensions. There's going to be harder to save in general.
There already are less and less pensions.
Yeah, harder to save in general for your retirement, unlike, I think, the generations above us, so to speak. Their mindset was a little bit different.
Right.
One, they had pensions, a lot of them, but two, their earnings to cost ratio, the cost meaning their home, their cars, and all that, you had much more of a buffer there. You had money to save.
Right.
So many people don't nowadays.
Well, it's gotten to a point where companies, because our life expectancies have come out a lot longer, companies don't want to be on the hook for pensions for 25, 30 years.
Yeah.
And so they gradually started transitioning in from a traditional benefit pension to a 401k.
Yeah.
They'll contribute in for the 401k as long as you do, and then you are responsible for your own income.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And so it's critical that how you invest your money, this chart has 3 different examples. One is if you have a bad investment experience in the first part of your 30 years.
Yes. Yeah.
Through the middle and at the end. Well, unfortunately, at the end, it kind of, the numbers kind of show I can have a bad first 5 years and a great next 15 or 20 years, and it won't be as impactful because the amount that it impacts is lower. As we've saved over the years and we start accumulating, when we have a major correction in the market, it's a much bigger number that we end up losing.
Right.
And so that's why it's so critical to start in the 5 years prior to start protecting what you've got versus, continuing to try to build that.
Right. And of course, when you get into more of the protection phase, you probably aren't going to have as big as gains.
You give up some of the upside to protect you against the downside.
Right, but you get the sanity back.
What I call sleep well at night.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
The SWAN approach, I call it sleep well at night, and it's there's the hardest thing that I have to get to people to do is going from that accumulation phase to the protection phase, because they've experienced these 15-20% years that their portfolios have done very well, and it's been going on 11 years now that we've had a bull market since 2008, or a correction. Well, this market is not the same market as it was even 10 years ago. It's a lot different now, and it's a lot more volatile, and we've seen that this past week. We saw, the market go down about 1,000 points. It's up a little bit today because of the unemployment numbers, but it seems to drop much faster than it goes up.
Yeah.
And I think moving into retirement, taking a hit when you're 25 or 30 is a lot easier than taking a hit when you're 60 or 65.
Right.
Because the amount that you're going to lose is much higher when you look at it the percentage-wise and the dollar-wise.
Well, again, something that we've talked about, and I don't know the exact numbers, but when the Dow was at a little less than 2,000, which was the 90s, mid-late 90s, it took many, many, many years to get to that point.
Oh, yeah.
And back then, up until, I would say prior to maybe even the 80s or all, when people invested and all, yes, you had great CDs and all that, but it was, once we got into the 80s.
The 15% CDs are no longer around.
And then we saw those big gains with primarily tech companies in the late 80s and 90s. People all started.
The dot-com bubble.
Well, how come I'm not getting 15-20% a year?
Right.
We were decades before, if somebody just got a nice even amount what they used to call blue chips.
Yeah, you really have to look at the percentage of gains in the market. So if the market is at 2,000 and it went up 200 points, that would be a 10% gain for the year. Now a 200 point doesn't even, that's a 1% gain.
Right.
You know, and so it doesn't even impact that.
No.
And so back in 2008, the market was at 14,000. Now it's at 26,000. So it's doubled in the last 10 years or so.
Right.
But, you know, people have gotten used to that. Short-term memories. I've kind of been in this business 35 years, and it's, you know, I found that people's lives are much more impacted when they lose 30%.
Right.
Than if they make 30%.
Yeah.
And so that impacts their lives much more. And so the struggle is getting people to not hit the greed button.
Right.
You know, and that's what you need to be aware of is sometimes people get greedy and they forget that the market can go down just as quickly as it can go up.
Right.
And so your life, I think, will be much more affected if you lose 30% of your portfolio than if you make 30%.
Yeah. And as you said, if the market, even if it goes up or down to 200, you know, yes, it did.
It goes up 200 points today.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
I
It's
mean,
like people don't even pay attention.
In the 80s, you know, it would go up 20 points.
Yeah.
You know, and now it's going up 200, 300, 400 points. It drops 1,000 points in 2 days. You know, it's much more volatile than it was in the 80s and 90s. You know, and like you said, the tech bubble is kind of what's triggered that. You know, you saw wide swings in the market and things like that as it was coming in. And then in 2001 to 2003, reality hit because a lot of these companies had never made a penny, had been valued at billions of dollars, you know, and there was very few of them that actually survived. You know, you got the Yahoos and the Googles and the, you know, Amazons and things like that, you know, that have come out of that, but, you know.
Yeah, very few. I think a lot of people forget.
Microsoft was one, you know.
How many tech companies there were back then.
Oh.
And me living up in the Bay Area back then.
Okay, you would know more than I would.
And going to, every year I would go to Macworld, which was huge. It was everything to do with Apple, company after company after company. Well, I think maybe 10% of those companies are still around because they got swallowed up, or what they did at the time, they didn't know how to evolve, whatever it may be.
Right. Well, and the market came through and says, hey, there's no value here.
Right.
You know, and so they closed their doors. You know, anybody that had a, you know, .com behind their name was getting funded by hedge funds, you know, and they're thinking that they were going to be the next Microsoft or Google type of thing. And then the amount of money that was lost in that bubble, it was in the trillions of dollars, you know. And so getting back to your retirement, you can see that I'm much more better off taking a hit in the first part of my 30 years than I am in the last part. And it shows you almost double that you have more by protecting what you have the last 5 years or taking a hit the first 5 years. Right. You know, and so it's the thing that you really need to sit down and as I sit down with clients, the hardest thing that I have to do is to get them to back off their expectations so they can protect that money a little bit more.
Right, and as you said, you know, you lose 30%, you got to make that back and double to get back off where you.
I mean, if you have somebody that has $3 million and you lose $1 million, you're still going to be okay.
Yeah.
But if you have 500,000 and you lose 150, it impacts you much more. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
So if you have sufficient means, you can still take a risk with part of that. But if we set up a foundation for you, making sure you've got income coming in and things like that, it's going to provide much more peace of mind for you going forward.
Yeah, certainly. Well, Dan, great to have you back.
Well, good to be here.
And if people want more information, want to maybe set up a time to come in and talk with Dan, you certainly do that. You do like a free consultation. People can come in.
We do. And all they need to do, and I have some advertising spots on some channels that they can get the phone number from there.
Yeah, but it's sterlingfa.com.
Right.
And 949-859-5900. right? Is that it? No, wait.
949.
I did that backwards.
859-8900.
I transposed the two numbers. But you know, it's easy. There we go. We have it up there. I had to think. Wait. I transposed the numbers there. Yes, 859-8900. SterlingFA.com. Good to see you, sir.
Good to see you again.
Take care.
Good. Nice first day of spring.
Yeah.
Or fall.
Fall. Yes. We'll be right back. Well, I'd like to welcome back from Irvine Clinical Research, Dr. Trin. It's been a while since you've been on.
Yeah, good to see you again.
He pops up. He goes away and then he pops back up. Always good to see you, sir.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's fun to have you here. And you know, one of the main things that you're an advocate for and talk about is Alzheimer's, of course.
Yes.
And I think that's like your number one,
right.
Something that you're so involved in.
Right.
And let's go, you know, since it's been a while since you've been on.
Yeah.
I kind of remember the causes of Alzheimer's.
Go for it.
Let's see. Circulation, inflammation, and toxins. Am I close?
Ken, I'm so impressed.
Well, how many times? Yeah. Am I right?
Oh, yeah.
All right. I love it. So let's talk, and it's not written down here, folks. Right. I remember that. So let's go into those a little bit, and then we're going to talk about this program that you're working on and this study. But let's first talk about very briefly circulation, of course.
Definitely. Circulation, we are finding out, is a huge issue.
Yeah.
And if I were to take 10 patients with Alzheimer's, 8 of them will have high blood pressure. High blood pressure is a circulation issue.
Okay.
If I took 10 patients with Alzheimer's, 4 out of 10 will have diabetes. When we think about diabetes, we think about sugar, but the fact is patients with diabetics die from heart attacks and stroke.
Okay.
Which is circulation. So what happens is that the sugar destroys the circulation and patients die from circulation problems.
Okay.
If I took 10 patients with Alzheimer's, 3 will have heart disease and many will have high cholesterol.
Okay.
Because the cholesterol obviously clogs the circulation. It's a huge issue that we've seen. And so we're finally addressing it with an exciting study.
Yes.
That I want to talk about.
All right, we got a photo of this.
Right.
And I don't know if you've talked about this once before. It looked a little familiar to me.
Right.
But when you first look at that, you know, it looks a little kind of medieval there. But there's a real purpose to this, and you're going to tell us this has to do with circulation.
Oh, yes. Have you ever been in the hospital or ever visited somebody in the hospital where you saw these little leg squeezers on their legs and they kind of compress the legs? So there's an official name for this, but I just call these the leg squeezers.
Okay.
Right? And this is interesting. Many of our studies, or most studies, you're taking a pill, you're taking a shot, you're taking some medication, right? This is a memory loss study that requires no pill and no medication. And this is what we do. Patients are coming into our office. They lay down on, looks like a massage table, and we put these compression devices, right? I call them leg squeezers. We put these leg squeezers down their legs, and in between each heartbeat, you get a squeeze. So heartbeat, squeeze, heartbeat, squeeze, heartbeat, squeeze. If your heart was beating 70 times a minute, it's squeezing your legs, you know, compressing your legs 70 times a minute.
Okay.
So the question is, what does this have to do with Alzheimer's and memory and dementia, right? I mean, So we know that in the brains of patients who have dementia, specifically Alzheimer's, their brain size shrinks over time.
Okay.
So the
Yeah,
brain
you talked
gets
about
smaller
that.
and
Yeah.
smaller, smaller over time. So if I were to MRI somebody's brain with dementia and Alzheimer's, their brain gets smaller.
Okay.
And the reason for that is that they're losing brain cells. Brain cells are dying over time in patients with Alzheimer's.
Okay.
And we believe that a large contributing factor to this is circulation. Poor circulation, not adequate circulation to support the existing brain cells that are there. And we talked a little bit about the plaque that builds up, right? The Alzheimer's plaque, we've discussed that. But along with the plaque, what's happening is that the existing brain cells that are there aren't getting adequate nourishment, they aren't getting adequate support. So as a result of that, brain cells are dying and the brains shrink. So the whole goal of this study is really simple. We believe that if we can compress your legs, right? When your legs getting compressed, where is that blood going?
Right.
It's going up here. We believe that if we can expand, improve, and increase circulation to the brain, we're bringing additional oxygen to your brain. We're supplying additional nutrition to your brain, right? We're washing out junk, right? We're helping with inflammation. As we improve blood flow, as we improve circulation up to that brain, we are hoping to support the brain cells that are there with improved circulation. So the question is, how do you know if this even works, right? How do you know if this works? It's really simple. This is what we do. Before we start the treatments of the leg squeezing, we do a baseline MRI of the brain. So we measure the brain size, we measure the brain volume, we measure the hippocampus, the area of the brain that stores memory, and then we do the treatments. The study's about a year, around that time span, or a little bit over a year. And then at the end of the treatments, we do a follow-up brain scan. And we compare the size of the brain before and after treatment. And we believe that if we can provide additional circulation, open up any collateral circulation, provide additional oxygenation, provide nutrition to the brain, and support the brain, we believe that we can prevent, and it is our goal, it is our hope, that we can prevent the brain from shrinking.
Now, let's say all this comes to fruition. You know, you prove this point. How often would somebody need to come and do this? Let's say this becomes almost a normal type procedure.
So
at least at this point, I don't know if you know, but you know the answer to that. But what do you predict? If people have to come in.
It's going to really depend on the results and the data that we get at the end of this study, right? And if we can prevent, or if we can slow down the brain from shrinking, that means we have prevented brain cells from dying.
Right.
And when brain cells die, we lose memory. So as far as the frequency and how often and all that, you know, that's going to depend on how the results look. But this is the interesting part. This device that you see here is already FDA approved.
Oh, that's good.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. In memorial care, right? I've been sending patients for this treatment over the last 10, 15 years for a different indication. We are using this device already. Saddleback Hospital area is where I send patients to. We're using this device now for cardiac patients.
Ah, okay.
Oh yeah. So in patients with heart problems, where their arteries are clogged, and if we can't get in there to do a bypass surgery or put a stent in, right? And those patients where we couldn't do a procedure to help, many of these patients, I sent them for this device. And what this device does is that, you know, it's squeezing the legs, it's squeezing the arms, with the same idea of getting additional circulation to the heart.
Wow.
And
so you know at least in one aspect it works.
It works.
And I would think that let's say this is comes, you prove that this works for Alzheimer's, you
Yes.
can get to the point where they have a home version of this.
Yeah, that's
I mean, the way
right,
technology goes.
Right.
So somebody could every morning do that or whatever.
Exactly. So this is an
whatever,
FDA-approved device for the heart. We're now looking at the brain.
All right, very good. Now, of course, this, in a sense, I'm understanding what you're saying because we've had proof of this as far as going back when, back after in the 1950s and all, when pilots were now going the speed of sound, and they had what's called G suits on, which of course pushes the circulation up and the blood up so they don't pass out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So the theory is there. It's been there for,
the theory is there
for decades.
And this is an amazing study simply because you don't have to take a pill.
Yeah, that's really nice. Hey, I want to give people a way to contact Dr. Trim, and for free consultation on this, his number is 949-753-1663, and you can call that and still call the Healthy Brain Club?
Yeah, Healthy Brain Club, get a consult with us, and we'll see if patients are a candidate for this. It's a really popular one.
Very good. I know we'll see you back again.
Oh, yes.
All right.
God bless.
Always good to see you. You too.
You too.
We'll be back.
Mind and Memory Program at Mission Hospital is an outpatient program specifically designed for patients with a memory disorder who have developed a mental health issue, such as depression, anxiety, or paranoia. Patients are welcome every day, Monday through Friday, up to 4 days a week. On-site meals and snacks are included, and transportation to and from the program is available. The program focuses on improvement in overall mood, function, and concentration, as well as a decrease in depression or anxiety. Call today to find out if you or your loved one qualifies for the Mind and Memory Program.
Jewelry Box. It's about trust.
Do you buy gold? Yes, we do.
Do you buy diamond rings?
We do.
Do you buy watches?
We do.
Do you buy silver?
We do.
Do you buy these?
Yes, we do.
Gold, diamonds, jewelry, or sterling silver. The Jewelry Box of Lake Forest makes it easy to get top dollar for your treasures. No appointment necessary. Simply come in and walk out with money for your valuables.
Whether it's one ring or an entire estate,
we buy it all.
Well, coming up today, our movie is The Biggest Little Farm, and this is a documentary about John Chester, who himself is a documentarian, along with his wife Molly, who worked to develop a sustainable farm on 200 acres outside of Los Angeles in the Moore Park area of Ventura County. The couple is followed through their success and failures as they work to develop a sustainable farm. Over the years, the desolate land they purchased begins to thrive and is transformed. And really a good movie. This came out earlier this year. And this farm is actually located, as I said, in Moore Park. It's not far from the Reagan Library. And really, I mean, look at it, how it looks now. Really beautiful. There's one part in this movie where there's a brush fire coming close to them, and sadly that Porter Ranch fire that is happening right now is, although it's pretty far from them, it's certainly would be in line about where they are. They're probably about 10 miles away from it, but hopefully it doesn't reach over there again. Great movie, and I really, I've seen bits of it and just how they really help to sustain it with all kind of natural ways to do it, different animals and different critters and all that. One does one thing, and the bees and the butterflies and all, but really good. I think you will enjoy this. That's today at 2 and at 7. Now, another documentary on Monday is Pavarotti, about the legendary opera singer, and this also came out this year, and really kind of looks at his life, directed by Ron Howard, who also did not long ago the movie on the Beatles. So it goes back to when obviously he was a very young boy, and goes through his life and all the different things, and how he became the legend that he is today. And they have interviews with all kinds of different folks, Spike Lee and Bono, and before her death, Princess Diana. Just a really good film. I mean, he's been in just countless, obviously, operas, but also movies and all kinds of different things, and really a very good, entertaining look at this legendary tenor. And that will be on Monday at 2 o'clock and at 6 o'clock. So looks like another good one. Now I want to tell you quickly about a couple things happening this weekend. And over at the Towers, they have their open house. And if you'd like to go, it's at 1 o'clock. This is a chance to take a look at units that they have available over there. It's a buyer and realtor reception. There'll be some refreshments there. So head on over there at 1 o'clock this Sunday. If you'd like to call, you don't need to make a reservation, but they appreciate it. And their number is 949-597-4278. And that will be happening this weekend on Sunday at 1 o'clock. Also happening this weekend, tomorrow on Saturday, is Dine with the Doctors. This is done with Leslie Coretti, of course, with the Active Wellness Club. And she's going to be having all kinds of doctors there. And basically, you sit down with them, and if you got any questions, you kind of rotate through them. It's kind of like speed dating, only with doctors, and a chance for you to maybe, if you have questions, to get to know them, but maybe something that you've always wanted to ask. And this is $5 per person if you bring a dish, kind of a potluck dish, or $15 without. It will be at 11:45 at Clubhouse 7, and that is tomorrow. Looks like a lot of fun, so join them. Now, as far as the weather goes, well, as of right now, we still have that red flag warning in effect. If you're watching us in the morning, it should be in effect all the way till mid-evening tonight. And looking outside right now, we're not too bad as far as the winds here in South Orange County, but those could pick up, certainly a very good possibility this afternoon. Possible some breezes overnight into tomorrow. Then as we go forward, things are going to start to subside for the winds and cool off a little bit. This isn't, the winds here are not real hot, but they're drying things down to 5% humidity. So it doesn't matter if they're hot or cool winds, that poses the biggest risk. Here we are on Tuesday, warming up a bit, maybe a bit more on Wednesday, but overall temperature-wise, it's not going to be that warm. It's going to be quite pleasant. Around the state this weekend, things are fairly mild, and as you can see, in certain areas like Tahoe and Yosemite, it's very mild for this time in the middle of October. All right, we will see you Monday. You take care. Bye-bye.
Survival of the fit, only the strong survive.